Let's try a little thought experiment. When you think apocalypse, you're probably picturing explosions, right? Maybe some zombies, a lot of noise. But what if the end of our world was silent? That's what we're exploring today, the idea of a silent apocalypse, where our modern world doesn't end with a bang, it just stops. Let's dive in.
So picture this. You wake up, you roll over, and you do what we all do, you reach for your phone. But there's nothing. No signal bars, no Wi-Fi icon, just dead. Your first thought? Ugh, network issue. You restart it, you flick airplane mode on and off, but still, nothing.
And that's when this slow, kind of creepy silence starts to set in. No notifications pinging, no messages coming through, no updates. And you get this sinking feeling that this isn't just a temporary outage. The internet, it's gone. For good.
So, what really happens in those first few moments? Well, the initial stage isn't panic. Nope, it's just a strange, unsettling quiet.
For the first 10 minutes, maybe even a little longer, it's just pure confusion. Everybody is thinking the same thing. It's a local problem. But then you look out the window, you talk to a neighbor, and you realize it's not just your phone. It's not just your building. It's the whole city. And that's when the real problem starts to dawn on you. See, this isn't about not being able to scroll through Instagram.
The real problem, the terrifying problem, is that the internet is the invisible backbone holding up our entire world. We're talking about banking, hospitals, our transportation systems, the food on our shelves, even the electricity in our homes. It all runs on this network we just lost.
And, well, once you break that backbone, the dominoes start to fall. And believe me, they fall incredibly fast.
Just take a look at this timeline. Within a single hour, all digital payments fail. Your cards, UPI, useless. 3 hours in, the entire banking system freezes. ATMs are now just big, heavy bricks. By evening, panic has set in. People are mobbing supermarkets and the shelves are being stripped bare. 24 hours in, hospitals are in chaos, they can't access any patient records, and in just 3 days, whole cities are starting to crack.
And look, this isn't some abstract, far-off crisis. It hits you, personally, almost immediately. Imagine you just want to grab a coffee, right? You get to the counter, and the payment machine is dead. You instinctively reach for your wallet, but who carries cash anymore? And then you look around, and every single person in that line has the exact same look on their face, the exact same problem.
This is where that panic buying becomes a much bigger, permanent problem. You see, our modern supply chains are totally automated. The second the internet goes down, those inventory systems go offline. The automated orders to restock the shelves, they stop completely. The logistics, the trucks, the coordination, it all collapses. The crucial point here is those empty shelves, they're going to stay empty.
And this failure just cascades through every part of society. Gas stations run dry because the tankers can't coordinate their deliveries. Police and emergency services find their communications are getting weaker and weaker. Air travel? Completely grounded. Global trade just freezes in place. Our hyper-connected world suddenly shatters into a million tiny disconnected islands.
And this is where things get really, really dangerous. A total information vacuum is created. With no news websites, no official channels, what do people do? They start relying on rumors. Is it a cyber attack? A solar flare? Is the government collapsing? Fear just multiplies, and people start making really irrational, really dangerous decisions based on whispers and hearsay.
All of these failures, the broken supply chains, that information vacuum, the disappearing resources, it all leads to one critical breaking point: the total collapse of our cities.
Think about it. Modern cities are completely dependent on the internet. They just become unsustainable. Food and water systems start to fail, the power grid becomes dangerously unstable, and as people desperately try to flee, the highways just become giant parking lots. Organized society, it just devolves into a desperate, chaotic struggle for survival.
And right at this point, a new line gets drawn in the sand. And it's not about how much money you had or how many followers you had. It's simply about who can adapt to this new world versus those who are totally helpless without their digital tools.
So, the big question is, how do you survive in this new world? The game has completely changed, and you have to learn a whole new set of rules.
This slide shows it perfectly. Everything we used to value is completely flipped on its head. Your digital money is worthless. Your online influence means absolutely nothing. The most valuable things in the world are now physical, practical, and local.
Okay,
So rule number 1 is simple. Physical resources are everything. Now, cash is king for a little while, but the real currency quickly becomes things like clean water, canned food, and basic medicine. The people who have even a small stockpile of these things, they're the ones who don't have to make desperate choices in those critical first few days.
Rule number 2. Your offline skills basically become superpowers. There's no GPS to tell you where to go. There's no YouTube tutorial to show you how to fix a broken pipe. All of a sudden, knowing how to do practical, physical things is way more valuable than any digital expertise you ever had.
And rule number 3, this one is huge. It's all about community. Your local community, your neighbors, your family, that's your entire world now. Building trust and learning to coordinate with that small group becomes the single biggest factor in whether you survive long term.
The 4th rule, you have to question all information. In a world that's just running on rumors, reacting to every story you hear is a deadly mistake. You need to become a critical observer of this new reality. You've got to watch calmly, think logically, and then act.
And that brings us to the final, most important rule of all: adapt. The people who are going to collapse first are the ones who just sit around waiting for things to go back to normal. The survivors? They're the ones who accept the new reality and start adapting to it immediately.
You know, this whole thought experiment, it's not just some cool, scary story. It's really a mirror, and it's meant to force you to ask a very personal question.
Because this is the apocalypse that's actually plausible. It isn't loud, there are no explosions, no monsters running around. It's a silent collapse, one that just quietly dismantles our reality piece by piece, without making a sound.
So, it all comes down to this one question. If you woke up tomorrow and the internet was gone forever, are you ready? Or are you one of the people who would just be staring at a blank screen, waiting for it all to end?